on the circuit today, and Alan Hines doing an incredible job. We now swap them around. Messiah to lead in, Alan Hines as they come off the line. Nice big initiation there from Messiah as he drops a wheel over the edge of the circuit. Allowed to do that on initiation if he can fulfill that qualifying line. Little handbrake dab there on that decel zone coming into outside zone 3. And Alan Hines here starting to fall away. Not the grip, maybe, or maybe that clutch issue just creeping back in to that car after that team has worked very, very hard for the last day and a half to get that car on the grid. Was not doing a bad job, a few wheels off circuit here and there, little wobbles and wavers, but Alan Hines not really doing anything behind, no attack from the Irishman. Now first going to be a one more time between these two guys, not decided on the first 2 runs, and there we go. Thumbs up from inside the car, they look for the green light. And they are through the chicane and clear to go. Ali Al-Shahani jumping at the start there, almost overtaking Rafat. And now some big distance. Shahani having to back off, lost that momentum, lost that drive away from the start line, but wheels over the outside zone as Shahani follows him. And Shahani makes a bigger error as he almost over-rotates. Oh, and then Rafat. Looks to me like 4 wheels off track, judges saying in the briefing. Wheels on the blue painted section of the circuit is a definite wheel off track. Sorry, the yellow line denoting the outside edge of the track. So points deducted for Wines, Vernon Svanefeld and Wadu Ukba. Above me in the judging tower, and through the gate they come. Now Shahani's chance to put all the power down as he stands on the accelerator, that V8 underneath the bonnet screaming, but he's got wheels on the inside of the circuit. He's way off that qualifying line. That opens the door for Rafat now to pull back some lost points. Makes a big dive, and a little tag on the rear quarter as Rafat fires it away across off the circuit. And this one to me, it looks clear cut. Looks like Rafat has ended his weekend there in a rush of blood to the head. A little anger moment, knowing he may have knocked himself out of competition in that first half of the run. Out of competition. To me, where can they find you, Grinya? Just put Grinya on YouTube. There we go. Very confident man. So if you want to listen to the Ukrainian live feed, head across, search Grinya on YouTube, and you'll find him right there. We have 3 live streams running here this weekend, and this is Dmitro Zhivokharov making his way out onto the track for a bye run. So he does have a bye run. Unfortunately, Saeed Ahmed having clutch issues in his car. And Dimitro down Netherlands' very own Clint Van Oort and Ali Al-Balushi, a local hero, as I said. He'll have a lot of local support. I'm sure there'll be a lot more support from the Netherlands right now as Clint Van Oort fires that car in. Nice midline there, gets himself into the outside zone. Belushi making a whole load of errors behind. As you can see, the low tyre pressures from Clint Van Oort, the wheel almost on the tarmac, as these guys try to extract as much power as possible, as much grip as possible from the back of these cars. As Van Oort fires through a little early to outside zone 5, stands on the throttle, shallows up a waver into outside zone 6. He's going to need to tidy this one up as Belushi goes for a dive on the back bumper of that S14. And so here we go, green light, Lalou to lead. Comes off the line, Belushi to lead in, Clint Van Oort. And the Omani Nationals, the Omanis putting up a fight this year, no messing around. And Clint Van Oort left a little bit on the background, but it was a shallow initiation from Belushi as he now fires that car nice and wide into outside zone 3. Looks cool, calm and collected. Clint Van Oort goes for a little up close and personal touch onto the rear bumper that doesn't even exist anymore. And now Clint Van Oort holding back, comes out the outside zone a little early, mistimes the transition, trying to make a dive, trying to get the front wheel up onto the rear wheel of Belushi's car, but Clint Van Oort looking scrappy in the smoke. The lost a little bit, does make the dive as Belushi goes wide across. One more time, and you know, voice from the air conditioning and travelling for a few days. So here we go, off the line, here they come. Shahani to lead in. Katansev, and Katansev goes for a brave dive, has to back out of it though. as Shahani wobbles and doesn't get all in and up in the business of that outside zone. He transitions back, but now Katansev makes a big mistake, a dive across the circuit, shortcutting the track in this E46 BMW. He's going to go for now, get himself back into the zone, another dive, trying to get himself back into the pocket as Shahani pulls up his socks, cleans up the run, dials on the angle, looks for that final outside zone, but Katansev's right there as he almost hits him across the... Took a big hit to the wall earlier on in practice, and Alexander Katansev's team, like I say, doing a good job to get him back out. Here we go. Nice initiation for Katansev, stands on the throttle now. This could be a game with two halves, but he's off the circuit, two wheels off, and Shahani now falls down on the inside, goes for a dive. Katansev in and out, wavering on that outside zone, trying to get himself through this one as Shahani makes another dive through the smoke. Oh, goes for the door as Katansev stalls up ever so slightly. Shahani looks for it, waits for it, times the transition perfectly to slot himself back up in to the business of Katansev as they both miss outside zone 6, and now Shahani gets himself stalled up. They look for the final outside zone. So who's going to make it through? And oh, there we go. Tariq Al-Shahani. Sorry, these guys slot their cars into gear. They look for the green light. It will be Hines to lead out Maser in that Nissan 370Z. Nice aggression from Maser as he goes for the back bumper straight away of Alan Hines. Alan Hines fast though, looks for it. Big, high, wide line from Hines as he fulfills all of that outside zone. But there's Maser right with him. Oh, stalls up on transition, almost contact. And Maser getting his nose all up in Alan Hines' business on that transition, almost caused him to make contact there. Nice transition back now as they look for outside zone 6, and Hines fulfills it as Maser now waits for that transition back. Through the smoke he comes. Hines doing an incredible job in the lead. Across the... Don't forget, this is top 32. We are whittling these guys down to top 16 where the show will start a little later on this evening under the lights. Oh, big understeer and he's in the wall! Huge understeer there from Maser. He just couldn't hold on to it. And Maser hands the win to Alan Hines. Those guys gripping that car up 110% to try and stick with Hines, try and pull away from him, try and do something to force the win and move in to top 16. Unfortunately for Maser, not working out, takes that car into the wall from our drivers. Rostislav Rorohovsky off the line through that chicane, and now through the gears as Solomon waits for him. Big initiation there, and Solomon caught up there again, did the same thing that Ali Al-Shahani did, waited for the initiation, held back after he overtook him, but Rostislav wheels off track, tags the back end onto the wall, but he was wheels off track for a very long time. Only a small amount of that outside zone the judges will allow you to be off circuit, and Rostislav there I think taking a small amount too much, but Solomon now drops wheels off the track, finds himself on that loose marbles, can't get himself back onto the circuit as Rostislav Rorohovsky gets it. And off the line, will Rorohovsky make the same mistake, or will he play it smart? Will he go for the back bumper? And he does go for the back bumper. Nice initiation from Solomon. Rorohovsky finds himself in the right position, but look at this from Solomon. The grip now being unleashed from the E92 BMW as he gets himself nice and deep into that third outside zone. Looks for the transition. Rorohovsky starting to make a fight back now as Solomon gets deep right onto the edge of the white line from Nicholas Solomon. As he transitions back, Rorohovsky taking bites, takes a dive, almost makes contact, almost over-rotates. Has to think about that one there as Solomon slows the car down. Rorohovsky finds himself caught up once again. Rorohovsky making a whole host of errors as they take it across. Nicholas Solomon getting the win, advancing through Drift Team, one of the leading global companies in Forex exchange. Had engine problems yesterday, did Daham, and some nitrous issues earlier on today, but looks right now like it's absolutely on form. Oh, Mick Kelly tries to hang, takes the car into the wall as Daham proving the grip here is key, and that experience and knowledge of this circuit is what you need to get the job done. Mick Kelly falling foul there to a huge initiation. Oh, wow. And almost contact again as Mick Kelly. And Daham to chase down Mick Kelly in the lead position. Here we go, through the gears. Mick Kelly keeps it on the circuit this time as Ahmed Daham holds off, keeps himself safe. Mick Kelly gets himself up towards the outside zone, but not fulfilling it now as Daham gets down the inside. Aggressive moves from Daham as he tries to apply the pressure to the Irishman residing in Australia. Mick Kelly looks for transition back, shy on outside zone 5 as Daham does everything he needs to do to satisfy the judges on the second half of the run, and Mick Kelly will be Ahmed Daham heading through to the top 16, unfortunately. And tyres smoked straight away there, cones knocked but no foul as Harbali gets the job done on initiation. Too much angle dialed on there for Vasiliauskas, has to work with it, has to tame it down for that second outside zone, but look at this from Nasser as he kind of wavers and wobbles in the outside zone, doesn't really fulfill it, now starts to work himself into the groove. Once again, very shallow. Vasiliauskas thinking about the situation, taking his time. Harbali getting the job done so far, shallow again on outside zone 6, and that's making it difficult now for Vasiliauskas to chase as Harbali fires that car across the line. You can see Vasiliauskas show some dominance here. And the El Salvador driver looking to progress in his drifting career, looking to make some moves. Oh wow, and a big flick. That upsets Harbali. He has to flick the opposite way to avoid contact. And Vasiliauskas applies the pressure, applies the throttle, but he's made a huge mistake. Drops out of outside zone 3, and that opens the door for Harbali now, but he gets himself caught up in contact on the transition as Harbali forces himself into an error. As Vasiliauskas reasserts himself, thinks about it, Harbali making big dives, taking big bites out the side of that E92 BMW as Vasiliauskas goes deep into outside zone 6. Harbali up into the door, goes for another transition, almost takes the front off. Was there contact? One more time. So there we go, Clint Van Oort to lead out Ali Al-Balushi, the Omani national driver. Through the chicane, through the gears, Clint Van Oort, can he hold this one together? Can he calm the nerves? Can he tame the beast within as he jumps onto the foot brake? A much nicer lead, but still way down on the outside zone as Clint Van Oort needs to find that perfect qualifying line if he's to move closer to a step on the podium. Balushi not really making a whole lot of moves in the background though, as now Clint Van Oort starts to calm the nerves, starts to get himself into that groove, that repetition, that muscle memory as Van Oort kicks the clutch, awakens the JZ underneath the bonnet, fails to fulfill all of that, gets on the podium. Well, here we go, green light flashes, Balushi to lead out Clint Van Oort, and Van Oort nicely done this time onto the back bumper, but once again Balushi starts to pull away. Now can Balushi find that high line? He certainly can. Look at this lead line for Balushi, keeps a wheel in the outside zone, dials on the angle. Clint Van Oort though starting to bring the anger, bring the fight, goes for the dive up on the inside, shallows up the angle once again, makes a dive, but again Clint Van Oort looking scrappy, not clean from the Netherlands driver as Balushi, little dab of the handbrake halfway through outside zone 6, not what the judges want to see. Oh, and Clint Van Oort into the top 16 and takes out one of our international. So there we go, light flashes green, will be Nasser to lead out Kogeris for a spot in the top 16. Big dive there from Kogeris and that F22 BMW Eurofighter as he plays with the side of that Nissan 350Z. Nasser doing a bad job so far in that lead position. Gets himself wide though, needs to keep it clean, keeps 3 wheels on the circuit as Nasser goes very wide there. But look at Kogeris in the chase position, mimicking him every move. Little error there on a transition, needs to get back on the throttle, work that BMW back up onto the side of the Nissan 350Z. And Kogeris going to go for an early transition to try and gain some ground back. And on the line and away we go again for the second half of the battle. Edgars Kogeris to lead out Nasser, and this is where Kogeris really comes into his own. That lead line likes to be in that lead position, but makes the same mistake as Nasir did. Now Nasir making a dive up, puts the wipers on to wipe away the rain that's not on the windscreen here in Oman. As Quaggeras, nice lead line into those outside zones. Oh, and a big waver and wobble, reinitiation there from Nasir in the chase, but Quaggeras wheels over the edge of the circuit, looks for the transition back, and Nasir now holding on for dear life as Quaggeras, there we go, Quaggeras gets the win. Parts, but now it looks like the tables have turned and Hussein Musulmani is out of competition. Even though he was gifted a bye run, it looks like Hadidi has got himself back into the fight, our second place qualifier, back in the show, and now putting on a bye run to test this car to make sure it is 110%. And another Omani national looking to stop these international invited drivers from taking a step on the podium this evening. Hadidi will mean business later on as he finishes up a run, decides to bring his very own Cherba fighter, the car we've seen in Europe for the last 2 years. He said, if I'm going to come, I need to bring the right equipment for the job. And Cherba brings this incredible BMW, but he has a tough battle on his hands as Hazar Al-Hassani was looking unbelievable, unstoppable in fact in practice, but now put up against one of the best from Europe, doesn't seem to have what it takes to hang with Cherba, as Cherba puts down an absolute dominant lead line, dials on all of the angle to try and upset Hazar Al-Hassani, and fires it back. Cherba deep, look at that rear wheel on the... There we go, green light straight away, no messing around. Hassani given the opportunity now to try and redeem himself in that lead position. To the back end of that car, leech up in the air as he goes for it, but he's way off that qualifying line, and Cherba takes the opportunity to flirt with him, to play with him, to show him where that qualifying line is. That was a brave move from Benedictas Cherba as Hassani gets himself back into it. Cherba now starts to apply the pressure, starts to turn the screw, asks Hassani the question, have you got what it takes? That transition from Cherba was textbook, as Cherba absolutely pushes and pressures Hassani into making a mistake. But call from the judges. So here we go, green light. And these guys are clear to go. Timo Lipski to lead out Mabsali, and a big problem from Mabsali as Timo Lipski now does what he does, puts the hammer down and starts to drive away, starts to show everybody how good he is. A reminder from last season of the talent this young man has. Again, last year, that experience just not coming into play, just not being able to put himself into a position to stand. The Ukrainian driver, Timo Lipski, thumbs up all round, the light goes green. Riyad Al-Mabsali hoping, praying, wishing that this car will hold together and deliver, as now it starts to perform, and Timo Lipski looks to get himself into the mix, but the front wheel fully locked up from Mabsali, way off that outside zone, way off that qualifying line, and that's completely upset Timo Lipski's chase at the moment. Mabsali trying to get himself in to the show, but Mabsali, loads of errors, big left foot brakes, and that's just slowing him down, forcing that car off of that qualifying line, and I think advances through to the top 16 from both sides. The light goes green, Bagzi through the chicane, through the gears, down to the initiation point, chased down by Ayman. Ayman falls into position, now looks for the side of the PS30, goes for a dive, starts to hang with Bagzi. Bagzi looks for that nice qualifying line, but Ayman all over him. Oh, and a wobble from Ayman as he shallows up, has to control himself there. A sudden rush of blood to the head from Ayman as he makes another dive once again, wheels off circuit for Ayman as Bagzi keeps to that qualifying line, puts the PS13 right to the edge of circuit, but Ayman's not going away once again, wheels off circuit, now starts to fall away, and that issue once again of power looks like it's coming into play for Eamon as he gets himself back into it. Bagsy gets into that final outside zone and warned him that car not 110%. I know these two guys have been talking today as well, and Eamon maybe potentially warning Bagsy this car has a bit of a temper at the moment. Nevertheless, both guys initiate. Eamon gets himself into it. Oh, and you can see that car, a little waver there as it comes to outside zone 2. And once again, no tyre smoke. Looks like he's really struggling with this car. It's just not making the power that he needs, that he demands from the engine. As Bagsy hangs with him, has to control it. Eamon now starts to get himself back into it. That car picks itself up as Bagsy plays with the side of that BMW E30. Eamon doing everything he can to nurse, to manage that car around the circuit. Bagsy stalls up on the foot brake, gets himself back into it once again. Across the line they go. Advances through to the top 16. And as it stands right now, Vasiliauskas step up the grip level. Does he try to drive away? Does Harbali take a step back? Does he take it easy? No, there's no taking it easy here at the OIDC. These guys mean business as Vasiliauskas has stepped up the power, he's stepped up the grip. He means business this time. Noses the E92 onto the door of the 350Z. He's going to wait for the transition, perfectly timed from Vasiliauskas as he waits now to make that move back up onto the door. Harbali though on an incredible lead line at the moment. Transitions back. Harbali absolutely flying, but he can't get rid of Vasiliauskas. Vasiliauskas is all over him. He's right with him as Vasiliauskas makes a mistake. Stalls up on the transition. Can he get himself back into the mix? Well, both guys back on the line. And look at that, stone cold. No looking around whatsoever. Looking for that green light to go as Vasiliauskas through the gears. Down he comes. Oh, and he goes for it again. That flick. Could that be the signal from the judges? Could that be a red flag to the judges? That's completely messed up Harbali. He's understeering. He's on the inside edge of the circuit. He can't seem to get himself back into the zone. Failed to initiate, almost contact again on the transition. Harbali is angry. He wants a piece of the action. He wants to take down Vasiliauskas. Vasiliauskas right to the edge of the circuit. Big moves from Andreas Vasiliauskas as he looks to put a stamp on this one, get the job done, but Harbali wants it. He's right with him across the line. Wow, there we go. It is true. It is in. Vasiliauskas gets the win. One, if not the fastest men around this circuit so far this weekend. Can he translate that right now? Well, Hamdan has a big ask on his hands, and look at this already from Maxide, but wheels off the edge of the circuit. Maxide applying the pressure. Look at this from Ali Maxide as he destroys the tyres on the back of this Toyota GT86. And Hamdan now lost in the smoke, just trying to claim something back from this one as Ali Maxide puts down a masterclass of a lead run. And Maxide, Al Nayan needs to get the job done. That V8 powered Nissan 350Z flicks it in. Shallows up the angle, goes wide now. Can he hold on to it into the outside zone? He can. Nice lead line so far. Very clean from Hamdan as he fulfills the outside zone, stands on the accelerator, but there's no getting rid of Ali Maxide. He makes contact. Hits him. Oh! Now. There we go. Ali Maxide gets the win. Ali Maxide gets the win. So, not able to get his car repaired and make it out on the line. So, Nicolas Bertans will get a bye run, a chance to test the car, a chance to test the track condition. As now the sun goes down, things start to change real quick. So Nicolas Bertans into the top 16, and that just leaves us with one more battle to go. It will be Ahmed Al Amri to take on Ian Phillips from the UK. Door slam shut. Looks like the clock is out for Ahmed Al Amri, and Ian Biz Phillips gets a stroke of luck in Oman. First time here in Oman for the British driver. Had a few issues in practice yesterday, struggled in qualifying, wasn't feeling himself today in twin barrel practice, and said, I'm going to get my head in the game, I'm going to find out where I'm going wrong, I'm going to work on the situation. And right now he would never have thought he would have got a top 32 by into the top 16. And Ian Biss Phillips, supercharged, Magnussen supercharged Chevrolet V8 underneath the bonnet of this Nissan 350Z, getting the job done, and Phillips across the line, sealing the deal and securing